Welcome down to Tech Talk Friday. This is your host, Nigesh here. Okay, one of your hosts, Nigesh here. I hope you're having a good Friday, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are taking a long weekend break. Yes, it was Malaysia Day yesterday, so to all Malaysians, happy Malaysia Day. And to those of y'all having leave, great, but don't. We've been seeing a lot of pictures on social media about people stronging all these holiday spots in Selangor, so just stay safe. Yeah, I mean, it's good. We are very good, very well vaccinated, but better still to be safe. So take your time. Those holiday spots are not going to go anywhere. You can get there real soon. But in the meantime, on this Friday, it's about to rain outside, or if it's not raining yet, hope you've joined us, all comfortable, all ready to talk about tech this Friday. So thank you so much for joining us wherever you are joining us, whether you're joining us on our LinkedIn, on our Facebook, or even on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody. And remember, those spaces, and the reason why we're going live in those spaces is so that you can comment along with us and you can talk to the guests along with us. So keep on dropping your comments, even if you just have a thought, or if you got a question, drop it in so that we can ask later on. Of course, Tech Talk is brought to you by Necole, the learning experience platform. So if you want to start accelerating your career, growth, future, and also your development, drop over to Necole.app. Find out for yourself how you can start quickly with programs curated for you, and also access to so many experts out there that you can start learning right here, right now, today. All right, that's Necole, and there's a special promo that is running for Necole. It's on the scroller at the bottom. So for the promo code this time around, sign up on Necole. Go and purchase whether you want a quarterly or a yearly, and use the promo code RoshanTLead30. All right, great. And of course, I'm going to introduce our guest in a short bit. We've got some announcements later on at the end of the show about what's going to happen to Tech Talk. There's some exciting things that are going to be happening. I'll let you know that. But I also want to give you all a recap to what was happening throughout the week. There's been a lot of shows coming out from Necole this whole week. And if you were part of it, thank you so much. It actually started all the way from last Saturday. Re-strategize, reskill, and restart. We had Alina Amir from Arus Academy talking about the right platform for the future generation. I had a chat with Professor Dr. Pradeep Nair from Taylor's University about preparing for future careers, whether you're a graduate or you are an adult in the working space, how education is changing in order to make you ever ready for the future. And today, Sashi spoke to Dr. Nora Manaf, Group Chief Human Capital Officer at Malayan Bank, or Maybank, about the how to emerge stronger from the crisis. There was a lot of great points from today's talk at 12:30 to 1:30. So all of that was going on. So we always love to culminate everything here at Tech Talk. And today we're going to have 3 guests. So we have to ensure that my equal hosts will not speak too much and let our guests speak more. But it's time to introduce my equal hosts from Digital News Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up the infamous Karamjit Singh. Hello, sir. How are you? This has been happening for like a day. He can't figure out his own fingers. So he's either doing this or he's doing this. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Hang loose. In Hawaii, they say hang loose. I'm trying to remember what the Hawaii hang loose symbol is. I think maybe it's this, without trying to be obscene, right? So I think I got it right. Yeah.
Okay, sure. We'll find that out somewhere during the show or during the week. But Karam, okay, in the thick of things, you know, in Tech Talk, it's always this heart attack game that we're playing, because Karam comes in just in the nick of time, like 1 minute, and then he'll give us his pick of the week also in the nick of time. This one just came in right now, so I like to say hot off the press. Ladies and gentlemen, Digital News Asia pick of the week. So pick of the week, we covered a company becoming a unicorn a month or so ago, and we had both the founders on the show, and now we have the news of another one becoming a unicorn. So Carousel, those who use Carousel to trade goods and in the secondhand market, Carousel hits unicorn status, valued at 1.1 billion, with a US 100 million raise from Korea's STIC Investments. Ooh, what's this story about, Karam?
Well, no. What's interesting is that, this company has been around for almost 10 years. I think they started in 2012. So imagine, they said that, it takes Startups are fast growing. They're hot, right? It's a sexy area. This is a company that has taken 9 years to hit unicorn status, right? Which is a long journey. And what's interesting, of the three co-founders, one of them, and I think it's Marcus Tan, and I say I think because I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 101% sure. But I think there's only three of the buggers there, right? So one of them is the Malaysian. I think it's Marcus, and he studied in the National University of Singapore. So Singapore is very good at giving scholarships to top Malaysian talent, or if not, because their universities are world-class, they attract Malaysian students to go there, then they quickly grab them and try to entice them to stay in the country to work. So this is how Marcus ended up being a co-founder of Carousel. Yeah, so taken almost 10 years, right, to hit unicorn status. And what's interesting is that now, although I actually a few months ago, Bloomberg wrote a story without citing sources that they're looking to maybe go IPO in the US, not IPO, but they want to use a special purpose acquisition company, right? To get into listed into the US. So they may do that, they may not, I don't know. But this press release came just to say that we've raised 100 million US from a Korean investor, and we are now, at value at 1.1 billion, unicorn status. So great for them. What's interesting is that they're going to actually keep investing in more markets and also seek acquisition. So they want to accelerate their growth, right, via acquisition. And also, what I found very interesting is that they want to introduce higher value products, right, Nigesh, including luxury goods and cars. So I'm actually eyeing one of those luxury cars in Roshan's, hidden garage, and I hope he gets more of them and puts them up, and I want to go and get a great deal from there. So but the point is that they want to go into luxury goods and cars also. So I think, because while you said that the global economy, especially the US stock market, is going so well, right? But it hides the fact that a lot of people are still in pain, and we know in Malaysia, 12% of the people in the T20, right, fell into the B40 group, and like 20% of the B40 fell into the in the M40 fell into the B40 group, right? So from T20 fell into the M40. So there is pain, a lot of pain behind those data points. They are probably betting that people are going to be a lot more cost conscious. They're going to be even more hungry to look for deals, and they're going to tap this market by going into this space, luxury goods and cars. And I'm going to be a ready, willing buyer, if they go into that space. So that's the story of this, right? A Singapore company with Malaysian talent, taking them 10 years to become this unicorn, and they're going to go into new markets because of the current economic, pain that a lot of people are feeling.
Right. So if you want to check out that news, go over to Digital News Asia. Check out all the news that came out this week, plus this news as well. And if Roshan, you're hearing what Karam just said, whatever that car is, put high price, because there's this fella here who's in the show eyeing it. He's probably got an evil stink eye on it right now. So, you can get a very good deal.
Man. Peace. I'm all about peace.
All righty. So it's time to get to the show proper, because we got 3 guests today. 3. How are we going to manage 3 in this 45 minutes? It's going to be one wild ride. Let's see. We're going to start with the first one, and we're going to start with the AI scientist. That's the introduction Karam gave me. He's an AI scientist. Yeah. That itself already blows my mind. But he's going to talk about SmartPeep. Is it smart enough? So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have on screen Dr. Lim Meng Hui, founder and CEO of SmartPeep. Hi, Meng. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hey, good evening. This is Meng Hui from SmartPeep. Hey, nice meeting all of you.
Nice to see you, Meng.
Thanks. So, I'm excited to have actually Meng Hui on the show, because he is a real, AI, artificial intelligence researcher / scientist. He may not be a scientist, I've given him that title, but he was definitely an AI researcher. And with Microsoft, Microsoft Research Lab in Beijing, no less, right? It is one of Microsoft's top 2, research labs in the world, not just focusing on AI. They've got, gazillion number of, super smart people there. But Meng was in the team that was working on artificial intelligence. And I love to have him on the show, because everybody, and Roshan, not Roshan, probably even Roshan is guilty of that. Yeah, our Necole, we've got AI. Everybody throws the damn word AI out there. So, and I think Meng Hui can really tell you how difficult it genuinely is, right, to claim that your product has got an AI engine behind it, because AI is incredibly, difficult to do, and it's also incredibly unintelligent in the early phase of AI. There's nothing intelligent about AI in the early phases. So he can give us a real sense, for what it is. And just quickly, right? So he did his, he's a proud MMU graduate. So anyone from MMU watching it, hats off to you, shout out to you and to the president also. Tell him I'm trying to get him on the show also, but he hasn't answered my email yet. So it's good that he's got an alumni here. So he did his master, his degree here in engineering. Then he had an opportunity to go to Korea to do his masters, and he ended up doing his doctorate in Korea also, right? And Meng Hui, your doctorate was in artificial intelligence. I forgot to ask you the exact what you did for AI.
Yes, I actually was working on face recognition, fingerprint recognition, during my PhDs in Yonsei University in South Korea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what I have been focusing on.
Okay, right. So yeah, generally AI. Then he as soon as before he finished, Microsoft grabbed him. Hey, we want him to work, in our R&D lab. He was there only for like 9 months or 1 year because he wanted to do what did you call it? I forgot the term. Which was PhD.
I actually did my postdoctoral research in Hong Kong Baptist University. Yeah,
so
and
he actually studied and he taught and he did his postdoctoral research. So that means that you're actually applying what you've learned, right? So he was there for many years and going teaching many students and also deepening his subject matter expertise in AI. So what happened? Being a devout Malaysian, a devoted Malaysian, a loving Malaysian, a passionate Malaysian, a family situation in Johor, is from Johor, right? Caused him to wonder why couldn't AI be used, right, to help elderly people for preventive or quick alert, and that brought him back to Malaysia. And I think you can read about his story if you type his name and his name and his company, right? SmartPeep. I think he did a good interview with The Edge. He came out there. DNA hasn't done his interview yet. Sorry, I just wanted to get him on the show first. But what struck me was that with his deep domain knowledge of what artificial intelligence is and being able to hire the right people, it still took him about 2 years to get the product right. So my first question to you is, how come with your deep domain knowledge of artificial intelligence, it still took you so long to get your product, which I think you're calling it AI smart sitter, right? Or patient sitter.
That's right. So
right.
Yes, that's right. Actually, we build products like patient sitter, offering it to hospitals and elderly sitter system for each care centers. Yeah, actually nowadays I think there are a lot of AI engines, face recognition engines, and a lot of like human detection engines online offered by like Amazon, Microsoft. There are a lot of these kind of engines so that companies can now adopt those technologies very easily. But back in 2017, 2018 when we first started, we are actually building it from scratch, and that's really challenging. Because we are dealing with all these deep learning based application, and it basically requires a lot of data to make it work. So we actually spend the first 9 months, collect our data, develop our first POC, and push it to hospitals and aged care centers to actually try it out on a trial. At that time, we are almost at 94%, 95% accuracy in our lab tests. We were pretty satisfied. But when we first roll out to our first healthcare partner, we were pretty shocked. Because we got hundreds of false alarms every day.
False alarms.
Yeah, false alarms of the AI engines. Because I think it actually takes in a lot of unpredicted scenarios. Because we only tested in the lab, we never actually deploy in the real site. Those are some of the really uncontrolled environments, whether it's dim lighting or there are nurses actually serving the patients, having different interactions, and that actually causes the false alarms a lot. And we actually came back and really tried to improve, bringing down the errors. And after several months, we finally achieved a sensitivity that is really acceptable to most of the healthcare institutions out there. Another reason of why it actually took so long for us to actually roll our product out, because we find that a lot of healthcare institutions, especially in Singapore, they have seen other optical sensor technology like ours already. Yeah, in 2005, 2008, but those are not really that mature yet. So they have seen a lot of failed products out there. So when we first presented to them, is this another one? So this is often the questions that we get asked. And in Malaysia, because the healthcare institutions here are not really tech savvy, so this is like they are asking us, have you really bring a product to Singapore? If Singapore is not using yours, why should we use yours? So we are in that situation. So it actually takes a while for business to take off. Yeah, from
right. Of course. So when you say you were collecting the data, so because you gave a hint, so I forgot to say that you're focusing on optical and machine vision, right? So basically cameras and all, right? So they, because the camera that stream of video, that there's a lot of data points there. So their software tries to understand that the data point from video, and then tries to understand what a particular action means, so that it can become artificially intelligent, right? Because now it's not intelligent, so it took them that long. And it's striking, even with somebody with his domain knowledge, and being able to hire the right people also, it still took so long. Because no matter how smart you are as a data scientist, artificial intelligence, specialist, you still need to be able to collect the right raw data, right, to feed in and to teach the machine what things mean. And sometimes the teaching comes from a human being. It could even be somebody with SPM level education, right? But he or she knows, right, what the video is. You're teaching the software, what it is. It's amazing. The world of AI is highly not intelligent yet, but the vast majority of people don't know. Right? That's why Roshan can say, I got AI. I want you to teach me the killer question, Meng Hui, to ask Roshan, so I can catch him with his pants down next time. Or any other entrepreneur out there. That's it, right? Because it's because at least you need to try to capture the real story for readers, right? So I'm happy that I have a real, AI scientist now. I'll be engaging with you a lot, okay, bro, to help educate me so I can ask better questions. Okay, I'm rambling. Sure. Second question, sorry, okay? Very important is that, is there anything innovative about what you're doing? Because you just said that hospitals say that, hey, are you just another one? We've tried this before, right? So is there anything innovative, or you don't think there needs to be anything innovative? Just being able to produce an incredible, accurate, vision-based, AI product is already, the market will say that's innovative. So you don't have to come up with anything new.
So Ming, maybe I want to just add on to the question a little bit, because I'm not sure that all our audiences know what SmartPeep and the solution that you're bringing out to the market is. So maybe to add on, maybe explain a little bit what is it, and then to Karam's question.
Thank you, Nigesh.
Sure. We actually, SmartPeep, in SmartPeep, we actually embark on a journey of keeping seniors safe with technology, because we know that Malaysia is stepping into, we are becoming an aging nation pretty soon, just like Singapore and Australia. So there will be a shortage of caregivers in the future. So the technology that we are building is actually helping caregivers or nurses in aged care centers to actually excel well in what they are doing, so that seniors or patients are safe when they are in those facilities. So the first problem that we are tackling is actually the falls. Senior falls, patient falls. So we start with hospitals and aged care facilities, understanding why would actually fall happens, because we already have nurses over there, right? So this is actually the main problem that we are trying to tackle. And after surveying with a couple of hospitals, aged care homes, we find that falls usually happen at the bedside. Usually when high forest patients or seniors, they're trying to come out of bed at night and without calling for nurses' assistance, for example. So nurses do not know they are coming out of bed, maybe going for a toilet, or they can't sleep. So that's why they are actually coming out of the bed. So that is where actually fall happens, because of they do not know, the nurses do not know that there are seniors or patients who need assistance. And we have also seen some of the technology like bed sensors, who are able to actually give an alert once the patient leaves the bed. Yeah, but nurses basically needs about 8 to 15 seconds actually to reach the room after receiving the notification, and the fall just happens after they got off the bed. So that is the reason of falls happening in those facilities. So what the first product that we are building is actually we call it a fall prevention feature product. All right, it actually tries to predict the intention of coming out for the seniors. So before they even leave the bed, we send a notification to the nurse, so that they know that, hey, this senior seems like this uncle is coming out of bed. I should actually go there and assist. So one of the KPI that actually we work out with the nurse managers is always whether they arrive before the senior leaves the bed. And that is how the system actually helps to prevent a fall by giving early detection and early notification to the nurses. Yeah. So
Okay.
this is the feature,
Okay.
main feature that we are pushing.
Main feature. So just quickly, also Meng was because I told Meng that in hospitals, they've got if you're lucky enough to be in a private hospital, right? Government hospital, you got to just bang against the door frame or whatever, right? Or the bed frame. A private hospital, you got that magic
Got the
little
button.
button, right? But according to Meng Hui, many patients actually still don't know how to use the buttons. No, interesting. So we kind of assume, right? So that's why he's trying to do this predictive thing where the nurses will know that the patient is restless and about to swing the legs and get off, and they can quickly go and assist. Because you're right, even if you're there like 7-8 seconds after they've got up and took those few steps, could be too late, right? And also some patients have got their pride. They don't want to call a nurse to help them because toilet's so nearby, I'm healthy, I can do it. So it's amazing that he's trying to tackle. This is a tough challenge, right? Trying to get it, alert the nurses before the patient even sits up on the bed and decides to get up. So fantastic, good luck to you. But again, my question is then, what is innovative here?
The innovative is actually trying to learn the behavior, the activity before the seniors wants to get up. For example, like putting legs down and trying to sit up. Some aggressive patients or seniors would actually, once they sit up, they would definitely want to leave the bed. So those we actually try out different like sensitivity setting, and we can buy like 30 seconds of time for nurses actually to arrive to the bedside.
Yeah.
So we also managed to actually in one of the facilities one of our clients' home. The fall rate is actually usually 1 in 2 days, every 2 days for that room. That means it's either this person who will fall or that bed would fall.
Wow, that's terrible,
because it's quite a huge facility. So with our system, we actually reduce it, and they are able to achieve 0 falls with this the help of this technology, and that is something we are very proud about.
That is incredible. Fantastic. Yeah. By the way, Meng Hui, and it's not just elderly people, those who are going to be elderly, a certain particular bearded 55-year-old also recently fell down, and I just had to come back from a 1-hour physiotherapy session. So I also got hurt. I fell down accidentally. I re-aggravated an old 30-year-old injury because I broke my elbow once upon a time. And
Sorry to hear that.
Also, I'm going for physiotherapy now. But you're right. When you fall, it's incredible, right? It's just a split second and suddenly you're on the floor and you say, hey, how did that happen? So I love the predictive part of what you're doing. Super difficult, but good luck to you. Now let's move on to the third question, because I don't want to start making this about my poor elbow and I fell down and all, right? Okay, the third question is, look, if you could, and this is an important question, which I've not asked this before, shame on me. If you could wind back the clock, Meng Hui, to late 2018, which is when you started, what would you do differently and what would you not do at all? Basically, it's about the lessons you've learned in your 3.5-year journey. Key lessons.
Yeah, I think when we first developed, we may be spending too much time in our first POC. If we could push this product out for testing earlier, we could actually I mean without pushing out for pilots and spending a lot of time on lab tests, we may not really know what's happening out there and what are errors that would actually happen. So this is like one of the key learnings. Another key learnings is when we first actually push out these products, we actually use not an optimal strategy, I would say. We always want our clients to pay a certain amount to make sure they are committed on these products, because we do not want any actually nursing home to come. Actually, if I could rewind back to 2018, I may probably raise more funds and once we achieve a positive feedback from one of the nursing homes, we have one reference site, we should actually give this out, a basic system probably for free for all the nursing homes to try it out, because that will actually speed up the adoption a lot. Yeah, I think these are the two key learnings.
Wonderful, thanks. But I think your first one, that you think you spend too much time, I don't blame you, because you're an engineer, so of course you have the confidence that you can build a great product, so you get caught up in it, and time passes so fast that 8 months you are trying it out. And of course, I never tried to develop my own. Okay, we developed DNA concept, but we didn't do any damn coding, right? But for you, I can understand why that was looking back now, that was a mistake. I'm sure it's very common technical founders, right, to fall into that. But great, thanks for sharing. Just quickly, the last question is for you. 4 questions is that, how big, Meng Hui, is your dream? What do you envision SmartPeep to be if it reaches its optimal level of success one day?
Actually, I want this kind of product, like at least a similar kind of product, to be in every nursing home, in every healthcare facilities, in every aged care facilities, to help to keep these seniors safe. And most important thing is to improve the nurse and caregivers' productivity because of the shortage problem that we will be facing. And eventually, when we roll out these products, we will also enter into the home market, helping home care providers to provide better service to keep those seniors staying alone at home safe.
At home.
And that is actually where we are going. And we hope that with this technology, with the presence of this technology, we could keep seniors over the world safe together. Yeah. So that is actually the dream of SmartPeep.
Okay. And of course, at least regional domination, right? You're going to conquer Indonesia, Thailand, all the countries with over 100 million population. Philippines, Thailand almost reaching it, Vietnam and Indonesia. 4 countries enough.
Yeah, we're targeting the aging countries first. Yeah, and Malaysia, of course, this is our home ground. Yeah.
But I know you're already in Singapore. You've got customers in Singapore more than Malaysia. So shame on all the health providers in Malaysia not using SmartPeep. You better get on the phone or find out, WhatsApp me and I'll give his mobile number. Get on the phone with Meng Hui and start adopting his product. And of course, he's already got a paying customer in Australia. So fantastic, and working on the second one. More to come.
Thanks a lot.
So this is sorry?
Thanks a lot for that.
So this is a young man, on the up and rising. And by the way, he's also one of the, remember, Nigesh, we were talking about Endeavor's accelerator program, right?
Yeah.
And Meng Hui is one of the 8 or 6 lucky entrepreneurs that they picked to be in their current cohort now. So he'll be with them for next 2 years. So that itself will ensure you that he's going to sharpen his knowledge, his capacity, his ability, right? His leadership. Excellent. So very good. And also Khazanah gave him a 300,000 ringgit grant. So well done. Congratulations. A lot of things. And he's going to be on one of the crowdfunding platforms called Kickstarter. No, called MyStarter. Sorry, Malaysian-based MyStarter. So watch out for it and go and support him if you buy into his vision. And if you think you're going to be a customer one day of his product, like I think I'm going to be, then you better invest. Also, so you get a discount when you use his service one day down the road. But fantastic, Meng Hui. Thanks a lot. We expect to hear a lot more from you, right? Every 6 months. I know your growth is going to be that rapid. And, exciting. And hopefully you hit your maximum target when you're going to your MyStarter, ECF, okay?
Sure. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thanks, Meng. And we'll have you again at the end of the show. And also at the end of the show, there's a comment from one of our viewers, which I think is more idea rather than a comment, which I'll show you at the end of the show.
Wonderful. Give an idea to Meng Hui.
Sure.
This is especially for this. So I'll catch you in a bit, Meng.
Sign the contract with Meng Hui after this. Make sure we get some share.
Exactly. So I'll catch you later. And I kind of resound with what Meng is doing because Karam knows this. I have a father who is a Parkinson's patient. So fall is something that happens often. And fall usually with these kind of patients is not because of anything. It's they literally, their balance system, their coherent system is all not really working well. And a single fall, and the fall itself is not the problem, but what happens after the fall that really becomes an issue. They could get all sorts of injury, which then makes things more complicated. So actually having predictive technologies like this, and especially COVID times, really, really kind of pointed something out, because now the caregiver can't go into the hospitals with these people. And the nurses are at the whim of running from room to room to room to room. Having something predictive helps them not run about so much and actually care for the patients better. So good on Meng for doing these kind of things. And later we'll reveal this idea from one of our guests and see if there's some revenue share, something like that's going to happen, and some introductory fee from us because Tech Talk kind of brought this person to give the comment. Okay. Anyway, on to the next. We've got Karam. We're bringing them both at the same time, right? Because it's a hot topic that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
All right. So I know we've always had these terms in Malaysia. We're talking about brain drain, talent shortage, these kind of things. I think it's a good time to get to the heart of it, especially now when we're in this age. Yes, we're coming out of lockdown. Businesses should be opening. This is going to be boom time, hopefully, but we need to be able to leverage and use this to our benefit. But what's really the problem? What is causing the perception that Malaysia is going through a talent shortage? So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have two people to talk to us about this. First, He's been on the show before. We've had him before, and we've spoken to him just recently, actually. So let's get on screen Chan Kee Siak, founder of and CEO of Exabytes Networks Sendirian Berhad. That's our first guest. And also Dato Sri Ganes, Palaniapan, founder, chairman, and chief executive of SG Education Group. Hi, Chan. Hi, Sri Ganesh.
Hi.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening. Good to be
Very
here.
good. Hey guys, thanks a lot for appearing on the show and for willing to be honest with your thoughts here, right? So as a journalist who's been covering the tech space for a long time, this perennial issue of supply demand so-called mismatch, it really pisses me off, right? Why the heck can't we solve this to a certain extent? It seems like we're always stuck in the same place, like you're in slow-moving quicksand, right? The more you struggle, the more you're trying to swallow. And it's a fantastic initiative by Chan, right, to create Ada Kerja. But then I'm thinking, hey, there have been similar initiatives like this before. Why is there continually this mismatch? And then I thought, and I have a sense, a feeling that the real reason is something else, right? And that's why I brought them on the show. And Sri Ganesh has been 2 decades as the founder of a TVET, which is fantastic. Right? A TVET, normally people who feel that they don't want to study into Form 6 or go to university, or even after Form 6, they want to go university or diploma, they do TVET because you can work, get a skill, right, within 18 months or 2 years. He's been doing this for 2 decades. And I think the majority of TVET students are also Indians and Malays, very few Chinese. So that's a topic for another day, where the Chinese students got to. But that aside, and also, but the fact is that it feels that, is there really my first question to you all is, both of you answer, is there really this supply mismatch, or is it caused by employers, not wanting to hire somebody because of their race or even religion? So I will let Chan take it first, and then Sri Ganesh.
Talking about the technical talents, right, it's always about the actual technical skills. Then I think why we are still, after 20 years almost, right, we're still talking about these issues. I think it go back to the fundamental, right? I think on one hand, we know how rapid or how fast technology develop, right?
Sure.
I think it's software worlds, right? Every 6 months, 1 year, you have one new version up and running, right? But in reality, you go back to the education and academic world, it takes them years and years to come up with the syllabus, get the whatever approval and things like that, right? So when the syllabus published, immediately that become a history, no longer technical, right? So that's why that fundamental, it is a formula issue. So I think to really address these talent issues, we have to fix the fundamental. The other thing I look at it is it takes about 4 years to produce IT grads, right? Or someone who graduate from IT streams, right? But again, right, he learned from year one versus the moment he graduate. Unless he's a self-passionate person, self-motivated person, he learned a lot on his own. Else, he will be super irrelevant when he graduates. I think that's the current gaps out there.
So you are saying that the gap is not because some employers want to hire people of a certain racial or religious background. It is really the skill mismatch, right? Okay. So, but I know what you said about universities or academic is taking too long, right? I think that problem has been pretty much solved because the universities are aware of that. And when I speak to heads of engineering, I focus on engineering and computer science faculties, right? They say that they are able to change their syllabus now. With there's a system the Malaysian government put in place, right? And maybe the overall framework takes 2 years, right? But then within there you can change modules very fast. So
actually, Karam, so I know this one.
Sorry.
I know this one is the MQA system. So actually, it's 3 months. Yes. You can change wholesale within 3 months as long as you have all the details. And within
3
that,
months now, wow,
yes,
it's incredible.
And within that, you do not have to resubmit for any changes as long as it's at about 12 or 18% change of the syllabus. You do not have to resubmit for any sort of approval.
Wow. So that's great. That's allow you to tweak to the market. So that's great update for Chan also. I knew it's much faster, but this is incredible, especially that 12 or 18% threshold, right? So credit to the government, moves very slow, but they're getting it. They're trying to make it better. It can be done a lot better. But Sri Ganesh, the question for you, being in the heart of this also, right? And also being ethnically a minority, do you see the issue Chan is saying is still a skill mismatch, right? Academia, which you are well aware of. You can address that, disagree or agree, and to what level? And to what level you think it's still that it's an issue of people just wanting to hire people from different background, which means similar background and religion as them.
Yeah, Karam, I think before I could answer that, I think you itself have that perception of TVET earlier, you see. See, we were talking about technical. When we say technical programs, right, you introduce TVET as those who are not doing well and B40 groups and not doing well in their exams, academic, not very much inclined, goes to this part, all right? I do concur with Chan as well, all right? Now, this is the perception market. When you, as a layman, you have that thoughts on you, how about employers, right? So they have the same thing, right? Correct. So when they want to hire a TVET graduate, they know that this guy didn't go through a proper academic system, but he's only upskilled using a 2 or 3 years mechanism, all right? And he comes into the job market. So now as an employer, right, I have this perception whether I want to hire me or not, right? So that is a bigger question which we can address another day. But you see, two imminent reasons, right? One is skills mismatch. I do agree, right? Another one is the demand-supply mismatch. The demand is a job being created not fast enough to absorb the unemployed, the supply itself, right? That including the graduates and youth. I'm addressing both the academic graduates and as well the TVET graduate, right? And do you have about 3 facts, right? I'll go very fast on this. Number one, the reality is the employers are not there to provide job based on what the graduates are actually qualified to do. These are they've been taught. They come up with a bachelor's or something, they expect the job to be as graduates supposed, the employer is supposed to prepare a graduate based, the graduates or the job opportunity based on the graduates' ability. That's not true, because they are there to complement the industry and of course to increase revenue, whereas the graduates will seek job based on what they know without knowing what industry needs. Right? They go accept they have to be relevant to the employer before even seeking for a job. So they got that mindset saying that I'm most of them, if you see, they say that I've graduated from this discipline and why this guy is not giving. So we blame everybody, we blame the government, we blame everyone. But how about us? Are we being an asset for the industry? Have we done enough research, to go to the industry? That fact number 2. This is a hard truth, right? Example, I will give you an example. For example, Mandarin as a requirement. Okay, it's safe to conclude this is based on the Center of Governance and Political Studies they made. What they understand is, it is, if you are not a Chinese candidate, all right, does very little to make you stand up. We can confirm that Mandarin language requirement is just a filter to employers to hire Chinese candidates. I'm not talking about all the employers, most of them.
Yeah, correct.
But I don't blame the employers, because this is what they require, right? So in a study conducted by a Center of Governance, what I noticed is the Mandarin requirement is really just a smokescreen, just to filter somebody. So if you're an Indian or Malay guy who studied Mandarin, right, and they think that's the requirement, but actually not, the company has a different requirement, right? And then the third fact would be, it's about the mindset. Unrealistic expectation from the employer. A young graduate, a fresh graduate, they want him to do everything because you completed your study from university. How come you don't know this? Right now, but they are not ready to prepare articulation for them to develop their career. All right, but whereas a job seeker, all right, he will have the dilemma of whatever that he have been studying in the college and university to be accepted by the industry, right? So these 3 facts is the hard truth actually, right, for them to get into the job industry. Both have to play a role, but I will tell you, this is a structural trend, right? This is not something that we have to rectify and this within our hands. This is something that we have to start from young onwards, right? It is a collaborative approach, which I think I will give you more of that later on when you ask me. So I give you the hard truth.
No, that's good.
And if I could really comment on that, I completely agree with that, because I can think back when I was a graduate. I graduated as an engineer and many years ago. And when I came out, the job was not there for me for what I learned. I learned so many things, but when I came out, it's that idiom which gets said, whatever you've learned in university, you only use 10% of that. You got to go and apply yourself very differently. You got to go and figure out how you're going to apply yourself. So you're completely right. It is the business, the industry needs something. Education is teaching academia. And this is where now more practical learning is really helping that instead. So I really agree with what you just said just now.
I disagree with that. You know, when you say education is teaching academia, so many, of course, I talk to CEOs or owners of universities, right? Because they are aware of this, but they don't teach that way anymore. The programs, at least when it comes to computer science, engineering, is much more in tune with them. Look, they all got industry advisory panel. I'm sure Chan and even Sri Ganes, you both of you are probably on some universities or TVET's, right, industry advisory panel, right? And you would have seen how their programs have adapted. So I totally disagree that universities are out of touch with reality, especially the top tier ones, right? Because we've got like almost 100 universities, or forget about beyond the first 20. I can talk about the first 25 even, right? They're very in tune with the market needs. So the students do come up with something that they are told before they come in that this is industry relevant, market relevant, right?
Karam, but you are looking only at the skills required, right?
Yeah.
But you're not looking at the human ability, like
Exactly.
the emotional skills, the emotional intelligence, and cognitive skills, and so forth, right? This is what the industry needs during our COVID-19. When we are recovering, right? We need more of salespeople who are more inclined to customer experience. Where are these talented people were unable to address the requirement from the industry, right? So yes, university doing their best, but this is more of, you see, when you go to university or any academia, it's a 4 years effort maximum, right?
Yeah.
But you have to develop somebody from small. So it is more like a collaborative articulation from primary, secondary, then you go to university. So we cannot blame the university only, but they are there to provide skills, all right? All right, they are there to provide the academic excellence and all that for them. But how about their mind programming for them to accept this? All right. So I think that should be focused. It's a collaborative effort that you should look into from primary, secondary, and
Sounds
so forth.
like the.
Otherwise, we are finding solutions, without knowing where the problem is.
Yeah.
It's like we're trying to fit a round hole into a square peg. So it sounds like there's an issue both at the students, right? Whether you're diploma, certificate, graduate level, okay, or even after, diploma is the at least entry point. That they have to change their mindset to they have to realize that what they're learning may likely not be enough. It gives them the foundation. They got to do things on their own, right? And also, employers have to stop thinking that when somebody comes out with a certificate or diploma or degree, right, that piece of paper makes them an expert in that area, right? They have to still mentor them or train them or give them a few months of runway, right? So they grow into the role. And by the way, Craig Barrett, the CEO and at one point the chairman of Intel, right, told me, because I used to go up to Penang and he used to come every year to Penang. He said that, government just has to do three things, for the kind of talent pool we want, For engineers, right, just make sure that they have just teach them to have the foundation. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't care what kind of engineer they are, but when they come out, they must have a strong basis in the foundation of what they've studied. We then will take them and put them through our system. Our onboarding is already built in that for the first 6 months, they will not be so productive. But of course, you can say, anyone listening, say, baga Karamjit, Intel, $70 billion revenue, the fella can talk, right? When he says 7 million ringgit or whatever, right? You already can do that or not. But I think the point is that you're making, no matter what your revenue level is, as an employer, you must be patient and accept that there's no magic formula for somebody to come in and start running the first day. They must, have some patience.
Add to that, I think learning and development takes place in the industry also. So they must allocate that. They must articulate the graduates so that because they're going to be the asset. You see, they're going to produce something for them. They're going to be the important person for the revenue stream. So that takes place in the industry itself.
Okay. So Chan, coming to your Ada Kerja, right? Because you know this issue, is yours just a simple platform where challenging, you just put in your skills or your passion, your hobby and all that, and put in a cover letter and maybe in Punjabi, because DNA is only hiring people who can speak Punjabi. You heard it here first now, okay? Or Mandarin or whatever. You put in the cover letter and you hope an employer will reach out to that person and hire them. Or knowing this, you are also now, the employees will register, you're telling them, hey, you cannot expect a magic bullet from these people. You must do something. You're trying to change the employee's mind. Because if you're not, then I would say that your Ada Kerja is an effort in futility. Fantastic intention, but you're not addressing the the two problems we're hearing now? Can you share with us?
Okay, two parts. I think number one is I think if we talk about the tech jobs, right, technical related jobs, right, I think today is no longer, you speak Chinese or Punjabi or what language. The language you want is like PHP, you want JavaScript, you want all kind of these tech languages. I think this is a lot more important than any the so-called communication language, right? I think this is what currently is weak among all these tech graduates, unfortunately. Yeah. And a little bit about Ada Kerja. Actually, our intention or the main goal Ada Kerja is not to solve those so-called the tech talents. We want to solve is actually blue collar. And what triggers to do Ada Kerja is during, if you still remember, July we do the food bank, right?
Yeah.
And from the 50 over thousands food bank applications for help.
Wow, 50 over 1,000.
50,000 over families actually ask for help through our 1 month of food bank digital programs.
1 month only, yeah.
Actually, 2 weeks to be exact. 2 weeks we have to close the application because 2 weeks we already got 50,000 and we know it's already overwhelmed, so we stopped taking the application. But we can see from there about more than 70% who fill out why they're asking for help because they lost their jobs, right? Because of this COVID lockdown, whatever reason, they lost their jobs. And after a while, you lost your job, right? I think the saving is drying out. Right, so I think job is the fundamental of solving the issues, right? Then on the other hand, myself, right, I have like my delivery companies, friends who do other kind of like supermarket warehouses and all. They keep complaining they can't hire enough all these blue collars, right? So I think one thing changed is that, right, in the past when we hire all these blue collars, right, very simple, we print out on the A4 paper, stick on the door. People walk past, then they will walk in and interview. But COVID pandemic, no one is going to, right? So I think there's a gap. So that's why we thought, partly also inspired by Kita Jaga, I think the way they use a map to visualize the locations of people need help and people who wanted to help actually makes sense. Then we say, hey, why not? We borrow the idea a bit, we improve it to become a job portal. So within your areas, right? There are people who actually wanted to hire. And probably people who want to, during especially COVID, right, you don't want to travel too far to work. Right? You want somewhere which is within your areas or somewhere that's more safe and like that. So that's how triggers to build Ada Kerja.
Okay, wonderful. So, but again, my question was, before we go to the last question, are you doing anything with the employees who registered to get them to change their mindset to say that, hey, you cannot expect the person, even blue collar, so there's still skill set. Right? It's not just, how much bench press you can do. Okay, I'm hiring you. So
no, if you try our portal, it's extremely simple. We just need your name, your contact number, and a short message what job you are hiring or what job you are looking at. That's it. We don't ask about any other thing else.
So you are okay, fine. So I feel that you are not addressing at least through this portal. You're not addressing the gap you see where employers have got unrealistic expectations. Okay, fine. That's because it's blue collar, so you think. White collar, you may need to do that. Blue collar, you don't need. But I think even blue collar is important because everybody is being forced up, right? You need to have some level of skills to even operate a machine or whatever, right? Because you could say your delivery also is blue collar, but they've got that handheld, right, device, right, and all kinds of things. So anyway, but okay, my last question is, because we want to try to end the show before 1 hour, which we always tend to hit anyway. Sri Ganesh, you answer first. Is there a way to solve this? Are you confident that we can solve this perennial skill mismatch, right, issue in this country?
Yes, we can, but I think we have to look in a different point of view. This is a very structural trends. All right. I think right now, entrepreneurship should be given more priority. You know why? When you create micro entrepreneurs, right, which the micro entrepreneurs are the youngsters, the youth from the graduates and all that, empower them with entrepreneurial skills, they can create more jobs among them. Simple as that. So if you're not addressing that, and then you still want to fix a puzzle in a way that it doesn't fit into the jigsaw puzzle, then I think you are addressing the same thing, doing again and again. Over next 20, 30 years, you cannot solve it. I think the right way of doing it, for instance, micro enterprises are important to create employment and entrepreneurial talent. And also things like contract farming can be undertaken by unemployed graduates, or we create the techno entrepreneur development program, whereby graduates comes out, all right, give them the necessary to start up their own enterprises, and then so that they can hire and they can work according to their mindset. In this, we can solve the problem as fast as we could for the current segment. If you want to do something about the job market, how they perceive the mindset and all that, go and work it around from our kindergarten students from now on, because you take at least another 10-15 years to change this. It has to start from small. We cannot do anything right now with the finishing school program and so forth. That's all from me.
Yeah, they say one generation is actually 18 years, because almost all countries, right, from kindergarten to when you graduate, is 18 years of academic, experience for the people. Okay. So Chan, what is your, how would you answer this? Whether you think we can solve this problem in an honest and meaningfully way once and for all, at least get started on the steps, or you don't think it can be done?
It is actually quite difficult to solve it overall, right? Let me elaborate a little bit more. I think usually a bachelor degree will take about 3-4 years, master degree another 2 years, right? And this has been designed since decades ago, right? And bear in mind that time we don't have computer, we don't have Google, we don't have Yahoo, all this computer stuff. But today, right, the way learning is already changed. When you need something, you go and search and all that, right? But the time needed to master a skill or master a subject is still required that same amount of time. I think it doesn't make sense in certain extent, right? Like those days you travel from Malaysia to Europe probably take 2 weeks, but today with a plane probably it take hours, right? But education still the same 4 years. So I think that's problem number one. But to solve that problem, actually there are many things involved. For example, if suddenly you shorten from 4 years to 2 years, right? Suddenly you have even more unemployed because you have double the output, right? That's one.
Yeah.
And you have other issues, right? For example, people who use the hostels, and many other things, the supply chain, the long tail supply chain.
Yeah.
All these are all issues, right? Then just now, Nigesh also talked about, although the MQA, they already, more flexible, 3 months, you can review the subject. But the problem is, right, most colleges, they only review their syllabus once a year. Usually the advisory board will only meet once a year. And actually, when we meet this year, we still talking about last year, still working in progress. So these are the fundamental issues. We need to face it, and But again, I think there's no one solution can solve all the problems. But it's how we make good use of disruptions, right? Disrupt in a good way to change maybe 10%, 20%, create more entrepreneurs, as Ganesh mentioned. And important is also the graduates themselves. They must be their approach and mindset has to be changed. They must be hungry for new information, to try out new things, and don't be too reliant or dependent on others to help them. There's always a mindset, government need to help me, private sector need to help me, parents need to help me. But this is...
You always have to learn on the job. But those era people accepted it, right? I don't think anyone say, hey, government must help me or the company must help me. But without the magic of the internet, they managed to do it on their own. And here in this day and age, people are complaining still.
I think the important point is that 10%, right, must be sufficient to impress your employer or the interview manager. Then you get your job. Then whatever 90% you can learn from the job.
Wow. Okay, fine. Hey, let's bring Lim Meng Hui on
to the job. Then you can learn it, That's a fact. I concur with Chan. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's bring Meng back on, but I've got a point there because there's someone who I spoke to in the middle of the week when I showed you guys who I spoke to. I actually spoke to Dr. Pradeep from Taylor's University, and he has actually a few things he mentioned right there. To what Chan said, Pradeep said this thing where whatever you have on paper gets you the job interview, doesn't get you the job. What gets you the job is what Sri Ganes was talking about. It's the, in Pradeep's own words, it's the whole person learning. The whole person learning, which right now, as Leaderonomics, great that we get to do this. And that's what we're servicing other people for. When they go into the job market, what they're asking for, critical thinking skills, ability to communicate, exactly what Ganesh mentioned, entrepreneurship. So these are the kind of things that are being requested because these graduates coming out are not ready for that. So
you're asking for all these things and you're going to pay somebody 2,500 ringgit a month. What rubbish is that, right? Come on, man.
Yeah, but Ganesh, you're completely right with that. That it's not you're expecting the graduates that came out now to have all that. It's difficult because they've gone through 24 years of their life with the educational system, which was very much based on a checklist of A's. And you come out and you expect them to have it, that's not going to happen. So it's a very structural thing. But I've got a question for you, Ganesh, before we have the rest as well. This perception of Tibet, all right? For me, it's a bugbear because I do have family members who've gone through it. Nothing wrong with them at all. They're not second class, nothing, right? It's just they decided to go for a different method of educating themselves. And oddly enough, most other forms of education and learning are starting to, or not starting, it's the thing. They're adopting this more practical based learning methodology. So maybe I just want to ask you, what is it going to take to change the view that TVET is this for those who cannot go through the academic system, and instead just treat it as it's just another form of academics?
Okay, first is the perception from the industry itself. The industry, some of the skill sets now they have the licensing program where required to finish level 2, level 3, and so forth. So most of the university graduates now are embarking on TVET just to comply to the license requirement. That's one way of looking at it, because the industry has accepted it. All right, and you must understand, TVET comes from a very strong foundation. It's from the National Occupational Skills Standard. All of us were blabbering about MQA just now. One will say it's not good, one will say that, okay, they're doing well and so forth, right? But equally, the last more than 20 years, the skills department have structured this program very well. We got one of the best, world's best skill structured system, which is called the National. Yeah. But what the advocates are not there, right? So it takes people like us, collaborators, industry to bring this forward. But we are there right now, but not for all sectors. For instance, if you need to open up a workshop, right, you need to have at least level 2, level 3 certificate, right, as for the skills requirement. So now the government is pushing it. So it's a collaborative effort from the industry, government, people like you and me. More people need to speak about TVET, because TVET is not sexy for you to speak in, probably not in DNA or Necole, but I think you start speaking about TVET. All right, those guys who are at the back end handling things, or from a server maintenance and so forth, trust me, they are from TVET background as well.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
And just to go on that, what you mentioned before about structural thing, right? Even the job market needs to look at these kind of roles as high value roles, because you go to countries like Australia, a plumber earns a hell of a lot of money because it's an essential job.
Highly respected.
Exactly. So the same thing has to happen here, where people in these kind of roles, technical, even though it's maintenance, you don't have the maintenance guy, you're not going to have a server running. So those are very important roles. So I think that perception needs to switch as well. Now, we need to kind of ask the other two questions as well. But I think, Meng, I want to share this with you. This came from Eva as well. And maybe I want to hear your thoughts about this. Eva Lim, someone from our viewers, mentioning here, would SmartPeep consider collaborating with property developers, especially there are some new residential projects that have integrated smart home systems apart from improving the healthcare and aged care ecosystem? What do you think?
Yeah, currently we are actually working with some already. To
great.
power up those, because when COVID hits, a lot of tourism, I mean, in terms of like hotels or things like that, they are not making any revenues. So a lot of them are being transformed into retirement village, for example, for seniors. So we are currently finalizing some of the details to actually power up each of these units with like fall detection capability through some thermal sensors. So those are the things that we are working with our current partner right now. So the answer for this is definitely, we are happy to support all these new residential projects.
Great. And Karam, you got any question for Chan to kind of sign off today?
I don't know. I think he's already answered. What they're doing. It's we've got a ways to go. But I think, Sri Ganesh, I take your point that we definitely, especially at the media, we got to talk more about TVET. And I'm a believer in TVET. is incredibly skillful, and even I think Meng Hui also depends on people who are coming through the TVET system for the skills, right? Because I think if you got a 2-year nursing diploma, is nursing diploma considered under the TVET umbrella, Sri Ganesh?
They have their own pathway, all right, but this is a disparity between the government system, the MQA and but they do have aged care skill sets and so forth. In overseas, they see this as a skill system, but in Malaysia, we have a little issue when it comes to National Occupational Skills Standard becoming a nurse, because in order for you to become a nurse, you need to have a certain academic qualification, right? So the TVET part will be a bit difficult, but not impossible. They can complete level 1, level 2 in certain related discipline and go into the MQA program. But there is no conduit for it yet.
Okay. Understood. Okay, because I know when I was talking to Meng Hui, he said that there's going to be a huge talent issue in this country in the aged care ecosystem. When you talk about the supply chain, there's nowhere near enough talent, and Singapore is already feeling it a lot more, right? And then for Singapore, they're lucky they can get the Malaysians to go and work in their aged care facilities. Who we gonna get, right? So it's going to be very challenging, lah. But anyway, we already hit the 1 hour mark.
Right.
I would just like to thank the three of you for your contributions, right? And wish you all the best in all the interesting things you're doing. And Meng Hui, hopefully one day you can reach the level of Sri Ganes and Chan. I know they know where they want to be, but they're doing a lot of great stuff beyond just they've moved beyond the profit angle, right? They're doing people and they're doing prosperity, which is one of the ESG themes now, right? So hopefully you can reach that and do a lot more for society also, right? And for the country.
I think Karam, by the virtue of what Meng is doing, he's already doing the whole prosperity thing, even with profits. So anyway, thank you to the three of you for joining us. And of course, if you want to engage with three of them, I suppose LinkedIn would be the best way to kind of engage with you. And if
send me questions,
all right, great. So if you got questions for them, LinkedIn would be the best way to engage with them. If you don't know how to link them in LinkedIn, go over to our LinkedIn. Sorry for that. Go over to the LinkedIn, find our tag of them, and you can start interacting with them. And of course, we've been dropping in the comments area all the different links to each one of them as well. For SG Academy, for Ada Kerja, it's all there. Go check it out. So we're going to put it up. So reskilling.sgacademy.edu.my if you want to find out about SG Academy, adakerja.my for Ada Kerja. And Meng, do you have there you go, smartpeep.ai to find out about SmartPeep. All right. So thank you everybody for the show. I was supposed to announce something at the end of the show, but because we are about past 1 hour, let's save it. It's going to be some changes that are coming to Tech Talk. We'll probably talk about it a little bit in next week's preview and also next week's show. So everybody out there this Friday, this Malaysia Day Friday, again, happy Malaysia, everybody. And just quick note, I know you guys are taking a long leave. I just have to remind everybody again, just stay as safe as possible. I know the state is open. I know you want to go travel, but just be safe. All right, just be safe. Just keep wearing your mask, get vaccinated, and stay healthy, everybody.
And
take care, everyone.
Contribute to our recovery.
Contribute to your recovery. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Have a great